ultimately not about I got mine or I'm going to get mine. It's ultimately not about necessarily being on the right end of this. It's actually how do we help these other people. So here is if current trends continue, if current trends are going the wrong way, like again when Nicole asked me to talk about immunizing from the system, I couldn't help but think, okay, so the system is going this way, and I think most of us here feel like the system is going toward dysfunction, chaos, and whatever, breakdown. Okay? So if that's where the system is going, then okay, what's the opposite of where the system is going? Because if that's going to dysfunction, then going opposite the system is going toward function. So here are some ideas to think about going toward functionality. Number one, reduce income. Now, you won't hear that at every conference. I didn't get a big amen on that one. I don't think they're going to ask me to keynote the Amway convention. Reduce income. Okay? And what I mean here is not that we're all going to go into poverty. And Tim, just, be cool here a minute. It's okay. But instead of chasing how much you can earn, let's instead chase on how little we need to actually live on. We live in a time where people proudly own the term, I'm going to defund the police or defund. Well, you know what? Let's defund the government by not letting them have any of our taxes. Oh, man. Nicole, I like this group. This is fun. Okay. So how do we reduce our, a lot of people don't realize Teresa and I, people think we've been so successful, and we have been. We've been incredibly successful and blessed. But most of our lives, we've lived below the federal poverty level. Well, Polyface owns our car. It buys my clothes. That's why you put your, you can deduct the cost of all your clothes if you put an insignia on it. So now when you come to visit our farm, I might not be wearing one. This is my dress up. This is my town clothes. I actually have a Polyface insignia here today. But if you come visit us, I'll probably wearing George's Poultry, Mike. IRS doesn't say it has to be your name. It just has to be a name on there, and then you can deduct all your. So the company, So Alan Nation, my mentor, always said, "Why does a person have a business? The main reason to have a business is so you can live your life on pre-tax dollars." One of the main reasons to have a business. If you got a business, everything can become a legitimate business expense. Especially if you're direct marketing. If you're direct marketing, every trip to church, you might find a customer. Every trip to the store, you might find it. So the company owns our car, pays all of our bills, buys our clothes, takes us out to eat. So personally, we don't have to live on anything. Then we bleed off everything through the company. We don't have to earn any income. Okay? So, reducing your income. Have a business that you can put all your expenses in your business. Eliminate debt. If you don't have debt, you don't have to earn very much money. Reduce your expenses. Think about entertainment, fashion, daily maintenance, food, energy, transportation. Let's have a strategic plan to reduce those expenses. The question is, how little can we live on? Imagine if all of us had as our goal, how little can we live on instead of how much we can make. I think this is a mindset, a mind shift here. It's not a vow of poverty. It actually helps us to strategically understand what really drives us and what is our value. as soon as we say, how much can I earn, that starts putting us into golden chains of a bigger paycheck, working overtime, being committed to something else instead of actually doing what we value. I would suggest too, as far as reducing expenses, well, I got to put money in a 401k plan or whatever. Let me tell you something. I think the new 401k plan is living nearby people who know how to grow things, fix things, and build things. That's the new 401k plan. Well, I don't know about you, but I'm not trusting the Fed to fix things. I'm not trusting the stock market to fix things. I'm certainly not trusting on Biden to fix things. And so actually, when we look at return to investment and true wealth, I would suggest I would rather have a portfolio of nearby friends who knew how to grow things, fix things, and build things than a 401k plan. Amen. And so let's invest in those kinds of things. All right. Number two, reduce digital participation. I have never had a smartphone. I fly so much now. I have really high status on American now. I get first class upgrades all the time, and so I'm in there first class flight or so back, and the guy sitting next to me, and he's there on his smartphone. The flight's delayed, right? So we're going to miss our connection, and so he's here wrestling with it. I'm just sitting there reading my magazine. They'll take care of me when I get there. It's cool, And he's all, and the phone won't connect, and he's got all these issues and all this stuff. And it struck me in that moment, I'll bet I am the only executive pro platinum American Airlines flyer that doesn't have a smartphone. So, I ought to write the president of the company, You want to feature some, weird guy? So, I don't have a smartphone. I don't want somebody to track me. I don't want all the stuff that goes by. No, I don't have an Alexa. I don't have all this stuff. I am a true Mayberry RFD throwback. And I don't intend to get one. I'm hanging there, people want to, this thing, I don't even know how to get the messages off of it. So the message board's been full for 3 years. And I can't get any messages. I don't text. It's a phone. I use it as a phone. I call people. But I don't let them call me because I don't answer it. But I just find this dependency and enslavement on this digital, these smartphones to be, and I don't think it's a sin to have a smartphone. Fortunately, I have a staff of a lot of young people. They have smartphones. That's how I get by without a smartphone. Okay, if I didn't have smart people around me on staff, I'll agree. Okay, but man, if you can reduce and use other things. I like paper. I carry books with me when I go and travel. But you don't have to turn it off. But when you take off, you don't have to. It's great. You don't have to put in a sign in, push on button. If the power goes out, you can still read your book. Write checks, pay cash. Write checks and pay cash. Okay? We don't need to use digital all the time. Quit auto pay. Man, I don't want anybody dipping into my checking account pulling stuff out automatically. I'd rather write 40 checks a month than have 40 businesses pulling money out of my... Are you with me? Yeah. I mean, we say we don't like it, and we say we don't like the man, and then most of us, we just, it's the accepted convenient thing to do. I mean, we get pushback all the time from, businesses that we, patronize. Can't you make, no, we're going to write you a check. So we're going to write you a check. No video games. When Tim was talking, man, what a great talk. I couldn't help but I couldn't help but remember a stat that I just read recently. It said the average American male between 25 and 35 years old right now spends 20 hours a week playing video games. The average American male, 25 to 35, which arguably is the most virulent, high physically energy time of a man. All right, I'll just leave it right there. I don't know if they've done it with people who identify as men or not, but anyway. If male is on your birth certificate, I'm digging my hole bigger. Okay. The point is, imagine what the average American male between 25 and 35 could do with 20 hours a week that would be more valuable than playing a video game. So, we buy books. We don't buy Kindles. We like paper. In fact, we got to cut more trees. It'll reduce the fire hazard. We subscribe, Teresa and I subscribe to paper media. So we get a physical newspaper. We get physical magazines. And yes, I have filing cabinets. I can talk to you about how you file stuff another time. But I have an incredibly extensive, as I learned in college debate, where you have 5,000 pieces of evidence. You've got to be able to put your hands on one every 2 seconds. So I've got this wonderful filing system, but it's paper, and my young people, my apprentices and stewardship, they're interested in a topic. Go up there, pull the outline, pull the file. This neat manila folder full of all sorts of stuff about paramagnetic rock. All the stuff that I've been interested in forever. You want to see all the interesting architecture, construction techniques that I've ever come across in my lifetime. It's all there in a file. And it's paper. You don't need a password. You don't have to push an on button to go in. It works. All right, number 3, abandon woke.
Done.
Especially in business. All right? I know a lot of people here, part of our self-reliance, part of getting away from that, weekly, what we call the golden change, which is a weekly or a bi-weekly paycheck, right? I mean, I left it September 24, 1982. Walked out of that newspaper office, and not a single person in my life thought I was making a good decision.
That's right.
Not a single person. No friends, no relatives, no acquaintances, no nothing. Everybody thought it was the most foolish thing they'd ever heard. But it got me out of the golden chains of that paycheck, working for somebody else. So especially many of us who are trying to start our businesses, you don't want to find people that are different than you. Now, I don't mean different in skill level. And I don't mean if you're an introvert, you don't want an extrovert, okay? I'm not talking about personality types. I'm not talking about skill levels. I'm talking about people who share your worldview. You don't want to be fighting your team. Trust me, you can come to Polyface. I hope all of you will. You're welcome. You can come anytime. We have a 24/7, 365 open door policy. Anyone can come from anywhere in the world, anytime, to see anything, anywhere, unannounced. Okay? That's our commitment to transparency. But you will not find somebody on our team that votes for Biden. I don't have time for it. I just don't have time for it. Okay? If we're going to get together and have a meeting and start brainstorming about things, we're not going to be that weird. Okay? Who wants to fight with your team? Now, if you're an ardent Biden supporter here, and that's who you want on your team, then do that. Okay? My point is to to be worldview different in your business and in your closest associates, just to have a different voice, is not functionality, it's chaos. It's chaos, disorder, and frustration. Okay? So partner with people who have an attitude and a worldview like yours. And now that Tim has spoken, I'm going to add to my list who doesn't have a poverty worldview. That's a good one. Okay? If you come into the job interview and you just say, well, but if, go on, okay? What we want are people who enjoy meritocracy and performance as the criteria. So in our business, we have no hourly employees. Nobody's an hourly employee. How do you do the hourly employee? Hourly employees are tension waiting to happen. The employer never thinks they're getting a full break, and the employee thinks they're kicking tail and nobody appreciates them. And so what we have are memorandums of understanding of agreement where we have independent contractors or salaried with clearly identified expectations, and all of our projects, all of our needs are identified by value by doing time motion studies. So how much is gutting a chicken worth? How much is gathering a dozen eggs worth? How much is moving a set of pigs worth? And so we have all this articulated so that all of our people are not hourly, but they're performance oriented. You get $8 a day for taking care of a group of pigs. You get $1 a dozen for putting away a dozen eggs. You get, $1.50 a chicken for gutting her. Whatever. I have a friend that was, she came down to Thanksgiving. She always put the turkey in the oven, and she always called it a hymn. I said, well, how do you know that turkey was a hymn? She says, oh, anything goes in the oven's a hymn. But this completely changes our relationship, because now we're working with fellow risk takers. We have enough unfairness in life. It's not fair for me to take all the financial risk and run the business, and you just show up, punch a time clock, and leave in a day. Okay, I need you to step into my world and share risk with me. If you don't close the door to the chickens and the fox gets them tonight, I lose money and you lose money too, because you didn't close the chickens up. Or if you don't keep the nest boxes clean, and now it takes you twice as long to clean the eggs as it does our benchmark, sorry, clean up the nest boxes. You with me? You'd be amazed at how much this reduces tension. And you know what? It's self-vetting. We've had young people take a farm, a subcontractor. We lease several farms in the area as well. So we have these young people take these farms, and so imagine you've got this kind of opportunity sheet. Well, I'll do 3,000 broilers, an egg mobile, one herd of cows, and 3 groups of pigs. Okay, and they build their compensation plan. Okay, and the end of the summer, end of the season, they come. Well, this just doesn't work. I mean, I just can't make any money. It's just no good. Bye bye. Next year, another young person comes through our program. I want to take that farm. Okay. Same package, same everything. Get to the end of the year, man, I didn't know you could make so much money farming. This is unbelievable. How do you do this? What's the difference between the two people? Character. Character. Yeah. One got up and got with it. One wanted to have 5 cups of coffee before they went out and moved the chickens in the morning. And sit there on the computer and try to fix everybody's problems. So the beauty of this is people fire themselves. I don't have to fire anybody. It either works or it doesn't. And we also want to really encourage complementary side hustles. So if anybody has an idea, we want them to know if it's a complementary idea, we want to make sure that you can have it. And all of this reduces the human resources risk, the HR risk. Number 4, And see, these are all anti-trends. That's what I'm trying to, that's my template here. Number 4 is exit the city. We've got everybody thinking, oh, the city's where it's at. Shiny lights, glitter, and opportunity. And around the world, the cities are growing and growing and growing, and the all that. Folks have been going to the city as a place of opportunity. My family left the city. We came to the farm in 1961. My mom and dad did. I mean, everybody else, with people with business degrees like he did. Mom was a school teacher. I mean, the place is the place. The city is the place to go. But in 1961, that was really against the trend, and I'm so thankful I grew up in a maverick home. The blessing of my life is that we truly grew up embracing the unorthodox in our home. And the fact that a neighbor called us a typhoid Mary or somebody thought we were nuts didn't really matter. So I grew up with, these straight-laced, church people religiously, and all of our farm friends were, dope-smoking, hippie, beaded, bearded, braless. Back to the Landers. I just thought that was normal. Then I got older and found it was pretty unusual. But there's a growing intuition today that when the wheels fall off, you don't want to be in the city. And everybody's, people are pushing to the city. No. If we're going to build immunity to the collapse, let's get out of the city. In fact, in the last 2 years, I've had 4, 5 calls from billionaires. Not millionaires, billionaires. Private jets, billionaires. Calling me saying, can you help me set up an agrarian bunker? Now, they don't use the word agrarian bunker. They say, a safe place, a haven, something. What they want is an agrarian bunker. Okay? Believe me. And there's an old saying, the rich know things. They do. They run around in circles. And I'm sitting here thinking, wow, if these billionaires are starting to become aware of this, maybe it's time for us peasants to actually take a look at this too. And they all understand that if things go down, in fact, one of them even asked me, he said, could you please give me a definition of what wheels fall off means? I mean, I thought, don't you have somebody on your staff that can write your program for this?
Can't fix stupid.
And so I said, well, I don't have a spontaneous answer. I've learned those kind of things. You don't want to just shoot from the hip. You want to be a little more. So I went to my staff, or I went to the team. I said, hey, this guy asked, what do you think? What do you think? So we talked about it. You can make a long list, but we came up with 3 things. You can't get grain, can't get electricity, can't get fuel. Fuel, electricity, and grain. Okay, and that's enough. So anyway, we need to be reversing the wealth movement. Wealth has been moving to immunize ourselves against the system. We need to be moving wealth and population movement from what it's doing, from country to city, and move it from city to country. And I would suggest that includes, developing an idea of what is real wealth. What is real wealth? Real wealth is food, energy, water, shelter, and skill. That's real wealth. It's physical. It's the real thing. Amen. So exit the city. What's the next? Before COVID, I would have said, what's the next vaccination against the system? But you can't even use that word anymore.
It's okay.
So what? You know what I'm saying? What's the next way to immunize your way? I mean, now we can't even use immunological and vaccine in the same sequence because it's all screwy now. All right. The next one is build an independent home. if you go around and you look at all these developments, these McMansions and all these housing developments going up and everything, it's amazing to me that as supposedly close as we are, whatever, 40, 50 years, depending on what, person you read after, we're going to all become crispy critters because cows are going to burp and fart and we're all going to die in about 50 years. It's amazing to me that we're still building thousands and thousands of stick houses. Have you seen them?
Yeah.
Not a single solarium on the south side. No water catchment. No edible landscaping. I mean, there's not an apple tree in a mile. No alternative heat source, like they don't even have fireplaces in them anymore. Shoot, a lot of them hardly have a kitchen. I mean, the new kitchen is a kitchen nook. Who needs a kitchen when you got Hot Pockets and Lunchables? And so it's just amazing to me that, look, if I really believed that we're going to all be crispy critters in 50 years, I'd be wanting to build some eco villages and eco homes and independent. All right, so what does the independent home look like? Water. All of our roofs should be guttered. In the first session, somebody didn't know what a gutter was. It's the thing that catches the water off your roof. Gutter. Okay. Should be guttered into a cistern. If you go to Australia today, even in Sydney and Melbourne, every single house has a cistern. And they paint murals on them. They use them to espalier fruit trees and grow cucumber vines up. They put trellises on them. They're hidden. They're all covered with vines so they stay nice and cool. But every single house in Australia right now, you can buy a cistern. A gallon of water storage will cost you about 25 cents per gallon of water in Australia. In the U.S., it's $1 a gallon. Why? Because we don't have a cistern industry. If we had a cistern industry, if everybody had a lawnmower, had a cistern, they'd be about a quarter as expensive. Because there'd be distribution, there'd be all sorts of innovation. And if you really want to make one of the neatest houses I ever was in Dave Schaefer of Featherman. I'm going to use his equipment tomorrow. Featherman, he built a straw bale house in Missouri several years back. Went and visited him. It was the coolest thing. So they gutted the house. They had to go in a cistern, but the problem is you can't use the water when it's down underground. You got to get the water up, in a faucet and where you can use it. So what they did, they had a bicycle. They hooked up the little water pump, and in 10 minutes of bicycling a week, 10 minutes riding a bicycle, they could pump the water up into IBC totes up in the attic that gravity flowed to run all the water in the house. So there was no pump, no relays, no pressure tank. There's a lot of energy lost in a pressure tank maintaining that coiled spring. That's why cities have water towers, because so you can dribble water in, and then everybody comes home, takes a shower. You can get it down. By the way, you know what every municipal hydrology water engineer is trained to design municipal water systems for one event. There's one event that is the #1 water event in the United States. Does anybody know what it is?
Super Bowl halftime.
The Super Bowl halftime. All right, now here's the bonus one. Here's the bonus. What was it before the Super Bowl?
Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving? No. World Series? No. All good guesses.
The end of MASH.
You're getting warmer.
Johnny Carson.
Johnny Carson? No, it was before Johnny Carson. The end of the I Love Lucy program. That was the single biggest bathroom event in the U.S. until the Super Bowl. But the independent home is a big deal. A solarium on the south wall. I mean, there is not a house, unless you're down along the coast, the southern coast of the U.S., but anywhere else, every single house, every single building ought to have a solarium on it. not only for passive heat, but also to grow vegetables in the wintertime. I mean, there's no reason to be shipping mescaline mix from California to Maine in February. Every house in Maine, every building, every business, every church, every structure should have a solarium on it to grow its own. And if we did, we wouldn't have to send the trucks, we wouldn't have to have the asphalt, we wouldn't have to spend the fuel to send stuff from California to Maine in the wintertime. Energy. You know, we ought to have wood stove backups or solar panels, a living roof. I mean, that's a great permaculture concept. You know, build our roof so we've got 12 inches of soil and vermiculite on top. And you grow your food up on the roof. You have your cistern, you have your bicycle pump, and you can shut down your fitness room and your exercise by just once a week. You know, you grab your bicycle and you pump the water from your cistern up onto the living roof on top to water your vegetables. The cucumbers go down over the windows. You reach out your bedroom window and grab a cucumber for breakfast. I do talks at universities. You know, they want me to talk about sustainable agriculture. And say, hey, you want a sustainable university? Let's divide the university in quads here. You know, sector 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Everybody's got it on their smartphone. Well, we're not going to have a smartphone, but we have it on a map. And every morning you get up, you got we got a phone call that says, you know, the strawberries in quadrant 3 are ready to pick. And all the students go, you know, pick strawberries in quadrant 3, and the apples in quadrant 2 are ready, you know, and the students just graze from class to class, and you know, that's the. And you have living roofs on all the campuses, you know, and the watermelons and the vines grow down over them. The kids reach out the door windows and grab a cucumber or a watermelon or something, you know, and they're squash and they're eat. And you don't have to have any air conditioning because all that evapotranspiration from the vegetation sucks all the heat out of the building in the summer and it stays cool without any HVAC. So these are the kind of things when we start creating an independent home. I just feel like all the construction I see is moving us toward more dependency instead of less dependency. That's my point. How about sewer? Oh boy, that's always an exciting topic. Trust me, around our house, every single discussion ends up with poop. I mean, because poop drives everything. I mean, it is and you can know a lot about your health by looking at your poop. Okay? Don't look away. Examine it. I mean, that's how we monitor if the cows are happy. You know, there's 3 kinds of cow poop. There's cookies, you know, little cookies. That means it's too fibrous. Not enough sugar. Then there's sheet cake. That's too much sugar. Okay? It's too rich. It's like she's getting Snickers bars. Okay? What you want is a pumpkin pie. Okay? Round, slightly dipped down in the middle, and right in the middle there's a little bloop, you know, where she clutched it off right there at the end. Okay, so you know, Sir Albert Howard, when he wrote in an agricultural testament, Sir Albert Howard is the godfather of modern scientific composting. He wrote an agricultural testament in 1943 and basically brought the composting method to the world. And he has a whole chapter in there on his city of the future. And he called it a diamond city. A diamond city. And he had... So in a diamond shape, okay, with an acre in the middle, 25 houses in a diamond. Why a diamond? So every one of them would have a southern exposure, so they'd have a lot of glass and get passive solar. This is 1943, folks. Okay, so no house would be in front of another one and block the sun. And then the center of the 25 houses was 1 acre, employing a master gardener that would take everybody's night soil, compost it, grow their vegetables, and it would be a completely 25 household self-sustaining thing with no water, no sewer, no utilities in a diamond shape. He said, this is the house of the future. He said by the 1950s, the world will realize the folly of putting poop in water. Well, that didn't happen. So So we can have compost. We can have outhouses. The one that I really like now is the biogas idea. You know, where you have the toilet right over the digester, and the digester then you cuts the methane off the digester, and the air hose from the methane goes straight to your kitchen and runs your stove. Every human generates enough methane with their own excrement every day to cook all your own food. That's a fact. So, there's a lot of innovation we do there. All right, next one. Ooh, we're out of time. Okay, number six. Abandon the health system. Abandon the health system. All right. I mean, everybody, my goodness, everybody's trying to figure out how to pay for all this health care. Well, the first way to abandon the health system is to get healthy. I mean, get healthy. I mean, I was waiting all during COVID. Uh-oh, now we just got censored on wherever this is going. I was waiting for one that said, Fauci. Everybody loves Fauci, right? Fauci, can't you just step to the microphone one day and say this? Just imagine. Today, we're going to...
Come on.
Nothing we've been doing has been working. So we're going to do an experiment. And we're going to do an experiment for 1 month. America, are you with me? Can we do an experiment for 1 month? You know. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. Here's what we're going to do. First of all, we're not going to eat any junk food for a month. We're not going to drink any Coke. We're not going to have any Mountain Dew. We're not going to have any Snickers bars. We're not going to go to McDonald's, Chick-fil-A, Burger King. We're not going to eat any junk food for a month. We're not going to eat Lunchables, Hot Pockets, and squeezable Velveeta cheese. All right. We're going to, you know what? Nobody gets enough sleep. So we're all going to sleep for 8 hours a night. Set your clocks, get on a routine, sleep 8 hours a night. Don't stay up late watching the TV, you know, shut down the Netflix, go to bed. Sleep for 8 hours. Man, we need more sun. We need that vitamin D. So everybody get out in the sun for 20 minutes a day. Take as many clothes off as you want.
Go wrong.